All right, and then moving to item 5, file number 181767, resolution directing the city departments to create reports itemizing services and resources provided in the 53206 zip code area. And Alderwoman Cox is the lead sponsor of that, so I will pass it to Alderwoman Cox.
Thank you, Mr. President. Myself, Alderman Rainey, and Alderman Stamper each represent a portion of the 53206 zip code. We all have read the stories, seen the movies, and read the studies that demonstrate the inequities that exist from healthcare access to recidivism rates for residents of 53206. So we've committed ourselves to working to help change the narrative of all of the negative socioeconomic indicators that we too often are hearing reference for the 53206 zip code, so that years from now, the acceptance of the zip code as what many people consider the worst zip code in America for African American to live, that narrative will be changed through the work that we do legislatively and the work that we do collaboratively with the community, so that the story that is told is one of how it is one of the greatest zip codes for African Americans and just period in the city of Milwaukee. To that end, there are several things that we are doing as a part of the initiative. Yesterday on CED, we passed the file that helped create the 53206 task force, and today what we have before us here at Steering and Rules is the resolution directing city departments to create reports to itemize services and resources provided to the 53206 zip code. Part of our thinking as to why we introduced this particular file is oftentimes when we create task force, when we create legislation, do resolutions, to try to figure out some new recommendations of what could be done, you always have departments and officials who say, we're already doing X or we're already doing Y. So instead of having a task force go through so much work and research and come up with recommendations that that people in the departments feel is redundancy, we're asking up front, what are you already doing, so that we don't have the butting of heads that too often happens with bureaucracy. We are serious about our commitment to helping to change and uplift 53206, and we recognize that we can't do it alone, that we need help from community, other levels of government, and those who are interested in helping change and improve this city as a whole. And getting this information is just critical to us to help save time in the end and to help come up with some real solutions. Also, although we concentrate oftentimes on the negative statistics and stories, we as representatives of the area recognize that there are great people and great things, great organizations and great programs that already exist in 53206. So our aim is also to support and uplift those things as well. I want to thank Alderman Stamper, Alderman Rainey, and Alderman Hamilton for co-sponsoring and for joining in this commitment to help change 53206 around. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Any comments?
No, just Mr. Chair. Yeah, we
Stamper?
passed unanimously yesterday, and we're looking forward to what we say, 6 months. 6 months of intensive investigation.
The report is 30 days, I believe.
30 days.
30 days. Okay. So this is great. Thank you, Alderwoman Cox, and all the sponsors. I'm looking forward to this. We share, all three of us share. Probably equal and equitable part of 53206, and listening to some stories yesterday, the people that are from and grew up in 53206 wouldn't realize what the stats say. The stats are different than what growing up in 53206 actually is. So, but we still need to change it, so it'll be even greater. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah. Thank you, Alderman Rainey.
Thank you, Mr. President. As I expressed yesterday, You know, I was living in 53206 before I knew what the zip code was. You know, I grew up on 23rd and Locust. I went to school at Itemizing Lutheran, so much of my life was spent between Hadley and Locust on 23rd Street for a very long time. And some of the greatest memories I ever had, and as I mentioned yesterday, you know, sometimes, you know, statistics can strip away the humanity of a neighborhood. And from doing the doors and spending time with the people in the Imani neighborhood, I can tell you there's people out there every single day fighting to, you know, keep their neighborhood together. So I want to commend Alderwoman Coggs for her leadership on this. I hope this is something that we could work jointly with the Office of African American Affairs to be diligent in addressing these issues in the area, a zip code that is 95% African American. So I'm looking forward to this task force being established, and I'm excited about the potential outcomes.
Yeah. Thank you, Alderman. And with that, I want to thank you all for your leadership too, especially for changing the narrative of how we talk about our community, because we typically are boxed in to talking about the deficits in the community as opposed to the assets that exist and the tools that you have to rebuild and reshape and to solve the issues that exist. So I always believe that we always have the tools that's necessary in order to solve the problems that are before us. We just got to believe that we can do it. And I think we got the leadership that is leading that charge. So appreciate that. So with that, Alderwoman Coggs would move adoption of item 5. And since this is almost everybody, we probably want unanimous sponsorship on this too? Sure. Sure. So let the record reflect that. And then with that, then item 5 is, hearing no objection, item 5 is adopted.
Yes, sir.